This is how a good race starts. Yes boys, it's Azza. Thank you for clicking on the video. We're tuning the McLaren 720S in the Forza GT Series. There's the car there, and we're going to kick straight into it. We've got race valves for a bit more acceleration. We've got race brakes for a bit more braking. And we've got the max rear tyre width for a bit more acceleration and grip. So, let's get into it. Starting with the tyres, alignment and the gearing. So the tyre pressures, I've opted for a lower tyre pressure. I felt it was a bit twitchy with 30 plus, so I've opted for 28 PSI on the front and 28 PSI on the rear. Feel free to doss about with the tyre pressures. I settled for 28, I thought it worked well for me. Gearing, we're going to start with 4.10 as the ratio for the final drive, 2.49, 179, 148, 125, 106 and 0.9. First and second gear are a bit touch and go, so please feel free to put your own gearing on there. You're probably better at gearing than me. Camber, negative 1.5 on the front, negative 1.2 on the rear, 0 toes, and the front caster is stuck at 7. We do have a few clips in between each segment, and this one is a bit of a carnage clip, to be fair. Watch the Audi R8 there on the left. He cuts inside to get into the slipstream of the Porsche, fair enough, so I'll pull out to the edge and he starts to turn into me. Anyway, with that carnage out the way, we go for a diabolical dive bomb there on that Porsche. We flick it now right onto the chicane and straight into. So anti-roll bars and springs, this is key when it comes to setting up the car the way you want it. So anti-roll bars, I've maxed out at 40-40. If you want more understeer, decrease the rear anti-roll bars. If you want more oversteer, decrease the front. Simple as that. Springs at 627.6 and 690. I thought that was quite a good balance. Ride height, I've just knocked it up a few notches, 3.8 and 5.4. It just helps with the curbs at Mugello, Hockenheim, for example, and even Kyalami, especially when you're going past that fast chicane. So we made mincemeat of that Aston Martin, and now we're back on Yas Marina, and there's an Audi R8 just in front of me. He clipped the Armco there on the right, left the door wide open for me up the inside, and I have a nightmare. I clipped the grass and I couldn't get the power down. Speaking of nightmares, dampers and geometry, a very mystical tuning element when it comes to Forza. Bump stiffness, I've set it 3.4 and 3.4 front and rear, 9.9 rebound stiffness on the front and 9.3 on the rear. Roll center, I've just upped them both slightly, 0.8 front and rear. Anti-dive, 17.3, and anti-squat is actually quite low at -40. Again, these setups are open to interpretation. If you want to up that anti-squat to maybe -25, -20, you'll get an extra bit of rotation when you're going around the faster corners and you're hitting the acceleration. There'll be less squat, but it worked for me fine, and I had no issues with it whatsoever. Here we have another, well, silly moment from another driver, but you know, it's Barbie. You know, you gotta let Barbie off at the end of the day. But Barbie decided to go into downtown Abu Dhabi and get a haircut, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, moving on. This was my second race in the McLaren, and this is where I started to fall in love with it. I absolutely love this car. It's just nowhere near good at anything. It just lacks the speed, the acceleration, the grip. But that's the reason why I love it. Aero, brakes and differential. These are very preference based. However, the aerodynamics I do recommend: max front, lowest rear. Brake balance, I've opted for 49 and 154%. Choose whatever you want. And again, with the acceleration, I've gone for 60. A bit more stability coming out of these tighter corners, and the decel at 6%. And there we have it. That is my McLaren 720S Forza GT build. We do have a verdict coming up shortly, which will outline the strengths, the benefits, the perks, the goods, the bads, the uglies of using this car. You know, I'm going to do this going forward for all the cars that I tune. especially in Forza GT and the Touring Car Series, to give you guys a good estimate of what cars that you can use for individual tracks, specific driving types, etc. And hopefully, if you do stick around, you will learn a thing or two. So, the final chapter. The verdict. Well, like I've said in this video, I love this car. I think it's a superb little motor. It's just not good at anything. It's not even a jack of all trades. It's bang average. Below average, probably. It's not a very good car whatsoever. But for that reason and that reason alone, I love it. This Audi R8 just didn't bother turning, so I had to show him my appreciation. Standard behaviour. So the written verdict, I'd give it a 3 out of 5 stars. There's the description there. Like I've mentioned earlier, it's not the fastest, it's not the best grippy, it's not got the best brakes. However, it does have a good noise. It does sound really crisp. And obviously for the more advanced racer, it does make lobbies more entertaining because they've got to try harder, they've got to work harder to get them dubs. And for me, that's what Forza is about. It's about having good racing, good clean racing, and just having a doss with the boys. And yeah, this is the final lap of Yas Marina, one of the 2 races that you've been watching. Well, seeing clips out of me just dicing through the pack. We've got the Audi R8 behind me, and we all know how good that car is. There's no excuses. My tyres were slightly worn. Obviously, he was probably on the mediums. And there's just contact after contact after contact. It was quite funny, to be fair. Betty was probably getting very, very frustrated with me. And yeah, a little love tap there, and that was pretty much it. That's what sealed the deal there. That little tap there, and I'm away. So yeah, coming into the final corner. If you got this far, I love you. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you are brand spanking new, check the pinned comment down below for what cars are next, and stay tuned for more.